sun blazed over the vast South African terrain, casting long shadows over the rugged landscape. The ground beneath was a mixture of loose gravel, jagged rocks and unpredictable dirt paths, an unforgiving terrain where only the toughest machines dared to venture. In the midst of this untamed wilderness, a beast stood still, its aggressive stance daring nature to challenge it. This was no ordinary SUV, this was the Land Rover Defender OCTA, a machine engineered for the extremes. But here's the real question: can an SUV that promises both luxury and off-road dominance truly deliver? Can it outrun expectations not just on smooth highways but on terrain where even the toughest vehicles hesitate? To find out, we pushed it beyond limits where survival depends not just on horsepower but on sheer resilience. A sudden roar broke the silence. The ignition came to life, and in an instant, 626 horses were unleashed. The BMW-sourced twin-turbo V8 under the hood didn't just rumble, it threatened. This wasn't the gentle purr of a luxury SUV, this was the sound of power, raw and untamed. As the tires gripped the loose gravel, a surge of energy shot through the Defender OCTA, launching it forward like a predator chasing its prey. 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 3.8 seconds, a speed that should belong to a supercar, not a rugged off-roader. Yet here it was, defying logic, rewriting the rules of what an off-road SUV could be. But speed alone doesn't make a champion. The real test was just beginning. Ahead lay a trail designed to break vehicles, not showcase them. Deep mud pits, jagged rock climbs, and slopes so steep that even the most experienced off-roaders think twice. This was the proving ground where mechanical engineering meets the brutality of nature. The driver switched to OCTA mode, a specialized driving mode that adjusts power distribution in real time, ensuring maximum grip and control. The 6D active air suspension adjusted instantly, preparing for the punishment ahead. The first obstacle, a steep rock climb, the kind that separates real off-roaders from pretenders. The Defender OCTA didn't hesitate. The all-terrain tires dug in, gripping each rock with precision as the suspension absorbed the brutal impact. The incline grew steeper, the rocks sharper, yet the vehicle didn't falter. Halfway up, an unexpected challenge, a deep crevice threatening to trap the wheels. In any ordinary SUV, this would be a problem, but this wasn't ordinary. With a simple flick of the controls, the suspension adapted, distributing power exactly where it was needed. The OCTA lunged forward, overcoming what should have been an impassable obstacle. But what happens when nature fights back? The next challenge was one that even the toughest SUVs feared, a deep water crossing. Would the Defender OCTA prove its dominance here, or had we finally found its breaking point? The river ahead wasn't just deep, it was unpredictable. Murky water concealed unseen hazards beneath, from jagged rocks to sudden drop-offs. The current was deceptively strong, ready to challenge anything that dared to cross. This wasn't just about power now, this was about precision, control, and trust in engineering. Without hesitation, the Defender OCTA rolled forward, the front end dipping into the water. The cold rush engulfed the tires, creeping up the body, but the SUV remained unfazed. Its advanced wading depth of nearly 3 feet meant it was built for this moment. Then, a sudden jolt. The front wheel struck something beneath the surface, causing the entire vehicle to shift. For a brief second, it felt as if the river had found a weakness. But the 6D active air suspension reacted instantly, redistributing weight, keeping the SUV stable. The all-terrain tires clawed at the riverbed, refusing to surrender. Inch by inch, the Defender pushed forward until it emerged, victorious, water cascading off its armored frame like a warrior stepping out of battle. But there was no time to celebrate. Ahead, the trail turned brutal. A steep descent into a valley of loose sand and jagged rock. Downhill terrains are treacherous, too much braking and you slide uncontrollably. Too little and gravity takes over. Activating hill descent control, the OCTA took charge. Brakes engaged automatically, controlling each wheel's speed independently, preventing skids and maintaining perfect stability. Slowly, methodically, it descended, defying the terrain that had bested so many before. At the base of the valley, a new challenge awaited, an open stretch of desert sand. This was where the true test of speed, control, and engineering would unfold. Could an SUV built for off-road punishment also deliver the thrill of high-speed performance? With a firm grip on the wheel, the driver pushed the pedal down. The response was immediate. The twin-turbo V8 roared to life, sending an explosion of torque to all four wheels. The OCTA surged forward, kicking up a storm of dust behind it. 80 miles per hour, 90 miles per hour, Nuremieter. On terrain where most vehicles would struggle to stay upright, the Defender OCTA was flying. The all-terrain tires gripped the sand like a supercar grips asphalt, while the OCTA mode continuously adjusted power delivery to maintain balance. This wasn't just an SUV, this was something else entirely, a machine that had rewritten the rules of off-road performance. And then came the final test. A 40-degree incline, its surface a brutal mix of loose rock and shifting gravel, waiting to swallow any vehicle daring enough to challenge it. This wasn't just a climb, it was a battle between raw power and unforgiving nature. Would the Defender OCTA make it to the top? Or had it finally met an obstacle even it couldn't conquer? The final climb loomed ahead, an unforgiving wall of loose rock and shifting gravel. This was it, the moment that would define the Defender OCTA. Would it conquer, or would nature finally win? The engine growled, ready for the challenge. With a deep breath, the driver pushed the throttle. Instant torque surged through the wheels, the tires digging in, throwing dust and debris into the air. Halfway up, the ground beneath shifted. The tires struggled for grip. For a split second, the OCTA hesitated. Was this the limit? Then, the suspension adjusted, power shifted, and the beast found its footing. Inch by inch, it climbed higher, refusing to back down. The final stretch was the steepest, the most brutal. The RPMs roared, the chassis strained, but the OCTA wouldn't quit. And then it reached the top. A moment of silence, a machine that had faced everything South Africa's wild terrain could throw at it, and won. This wasn't just an off-road SUV, this was engineering dominance. The Land Rover Defender OCTA had proven its worth, not just as a luxury SUV, not just as an off-roader, but as a true force of nature.